Good morning, everybody. We're going to start the Dutchess County IDA meeting. Jasmine, will you please take the roll call for attendance?
Sue Dean,
Here.
Mark Doyle.
Here.
Kathy Bauer,
Here.
Amy Bonnegieri, James McComb,
Here.
John Fabiano,
Here.
Alex O'Jones.
Here. I get mixed up.
All right. First thing is our conflict of interest disclosure. Just a reminder to all board members that if you have a conflict on any particular project, that we ask that you let us know at the beginning of the meeting and state what the conflict is. And if for any reason you become aware of one during the meeting, obviously let us know and we'll recuse you. A personal conflict that I have is the North Cross LLC. Marshall and Sterling does do business with an affiliate of that company, so I will have a conflict, and Mark Doyle will run that part of the meeting for us.
So I just, before the board says anything, is that the item 9B, the presentation by the Grand Civic Plaza, that will be tabled for a future meeting, so it will not be considered today, so.
Just in the interest of full disclosure, I will mention that I do have a conflict with that project. Marshall and Sterling does do some business with the Benura family. So when that comes up, I will have a conflict. Okay, proof of meeting notice. Sarah, meeting was posted?
Yes, meeting was posted.
Okay, are there any bills and communications?
No bills and communications.
Okay, we have some minutes from the July 14th meeting. Does anybody have any corrections to those minutes? All right, if I could get a motion to approve them, I would take that.
So moved.
Thank you, Al. Mark seconded. And Jasmine, could you take a vote of the motion?
Alex O'Jones,
Approved.
John Fabiano,
Approved.
James McComb,
Approved.
Kathy Bauer,
Approved.
Mark Doyle,
Approved.
Approved. Good morning. Okay. All right. Report of the treasurer.
Good morning. Looking at the balance sheet, we currently have 2.4 million in cash available. Looking at the P&L, everything looks good. We're up about 600,000 in admin fees. Nothing unusual to report. All of the September school pilot billings have gone out. Does anyone have any questions?
All right, we don't need any type of approval of that, it's just a report. Any committee reports? Is there any committee reports?
The only committee report, it's not really a committee report, is we are interviewing for the CFO and conducting second interviews right now, and Kathy is on the search committee as the treasurer, so that is progressing.
Okay. All right, moving on, is there any unfinished business?
No unfinished business.
Okay, new business. For consideration and approval of a resolution for MHTC Development LLC and 38 Eastdale Avenue LLC for the amendment of the master agreement. Sarah, do you want to take a lead and kick this off? Or?
Sure. So this morning, we have Eastdale Village requesting the reassignment, I'm sorry, not reassignment, reallocation of previously approved benefits to 38 Eastdale LLC. They appeared in front of the board at the July board meeting. We have had a public hearing at the end of July. The transcript had been forwarded to the board for your consideration, and then they are here this morning for their final approval for that reallocation.
So this is as outlined in the original agreement. We had expectations that these allocated benefits would be moved around as the project proceeded.
Correct.
Does anybody have any comments from the board? Mark.
I have one comment, and I'm just trying to find found it here. It's impressive to see the list of tenants to whom we have previously reallocated benefits. By my count, there are 11. This will be the the 12th, so far, if the list in front of me is complete. And this is a real indication of the value of our efforts towards promoting investment and development in the county.
Yes, and I also think that from the beginning, this project had the potential to be something that is an area of focus for us, which is this concept of walkable community. And compliments again to the developers for actually coming through with what they outlined in the beginning, and in the middle of some difficult times to have such great occupancy is really, I think, speaks to the project. Do we have a need, does anybody wish to hear any comments from the developers themselves, the representatives that are here? I think we're all pretty familiar with the project, and if there are any requests for comments, I welcome them. Otherwise, if someone would be willing to make a motion to approve this resolution as presented.
Motion to
Mark?
approve.
I'll second.
Al, second. Okay, Jasmine, could you please take a roll call vote?
Al Georgiani, Don Sagliano,
Approved.
James Cohen,
Approved.
Amy Bondieri,
Approved.
Kathy Bauer,
Approved.
Mark Ham,
Approved.
Jim Beam.
Approved. Okay, so that was all taken care of. Thank you all for your attendance, and we're all set. Okay, 9B has been pulled, as Sarah mentioned, which takes us to the consideration approval of supplemental final resolution for North Cross. And as I mentioned, I do have a conflict on that, so I'm going to step out and let Mark run the meeting, and then I'll come back once that's taken care of.
I also have a conflict for that.
Okay.
Thank you.
Amy, can you state your conflict?
My firm is doing work on that project.
Thank you.
All right, thank you. So our business today is to take a look at a supplemental final resolution for North Cross LLC in order to correct an error in a previous resolution. So I'd like Sarah, if you and Don want to.
Sure, so
lead off and-
I will let Dawn explain the resolution.
Yeah, at the meeting, a preliminary meeting, it was perfectly clear what the amount of sales tax benefit was being requested. All of the cost benefit analysis indicated it, the project evaluation forms that were approved in it, and everything that had been posted to the site and included in the application. And also by the time the public hearing was being held, that was the only thing. And what happened was our office made a clerical error and put in the wrong amount for the amount of sales tax we want of benefits. All this does is it corrects that clerical error. We never closed on this matter. We reviewed, this was picked up on review in preparation for the closing. Closing really not even going to take place at least until October sometime. So we just asked the board fix this clerical error.
So just to review that, so up until and including the point of the public hearing, the number was correct.
That's correct. It was only at the time that we sent out the final resolution that the error was made, because it needs to be stated there. And we picked up an earlier version and did not pick.
Good. All right. You know what we have to do now is, would anybody like to say anything on the subject?
I will say something. I did go through all of my notes. I pulled out the meeting notes from that day and I reviewed everything. And we did approve at the time the correct number. So I just wanted to put that out there, that we had, the day of the meeting when we did the approval, we were looking at the correct numbers.
So Don, on page 3 of 6 of the resolution, what's it? 1, 2, 3, whereas that is the accurate number. That's referenced
That's
from the
correct.
preliminary resolution. No, I wasn't here for the
You weren't here for the preliminary resolution.
preliminary resolution. So because I wasn't here for the, can I still vote on this?
Sure.
Okay.
No. So, Don, your question is satisfied?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Jamie, anybody else?
Yep.
All right. Then without any further questions, if I could have a motion to approve the final authorization as written.
I will move the resolution.
Second.
Second by Jamie, moved by Don. Thank you very much. And would you like to take a roll call, please?
Al Giorgiano,
Approved.
Don Sagliano,
Approved.
Jamie Picone,
Approved.
Kathy Bauer,
Approved.
Mark Dorr.
Approved. Is that how it works?
Very good.
Sorry, this is Loranne O'Neill. Was that for North Cross? I just want to apologize also on my end because I had looked at that and obviously I should have noticed as well. I think as attorneys, sometimes we like to glaze over numbers and I was just excited to get it done, but thank you all for taking the time today to revise and review.
All right, moving on in the agenda, we have a performance update from tourism, Dutchess County Tourism.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Dutchess Tourism continues to work very hard to inspire people to plan trips now and safe travel for the future in Dutchess County. Highlights of our second quarter 2021 paid advertising include the completion of our Outdoor Enthusiast campaign.
Really, real quick,
Sorry.
the board's looking through the packet where they're saying, they don't have a copy of your report.
Oh, I didn't know it. This is just my written notes. I didn't realize that you didn't have that. And I apologize. That's my bad. I should have checked with Janine. I was off all last week. So we'll make sure to get that to you. I didn't realize that you didn't have that. All right, I apologize.
Oh, okay. Okay.
So highlights. It was great.
So you might have to speak a little slower.
Okay. I know. I'm Italian. I use my hands too.
Understood.
Okay, so back at the step, second quarter, we finished our Outdoor Enthusiast campaign, really highlighting those outdoor safe experiences that people could have here in Dutchess, of which there are plenty. And then we kicked off our Summer in Dutchess A to Z. Hopefully you've seen our video floating around. It was 30 seconds to talk about 26 letters of the alphabet and things you can do here in Dutchess County. It's pretty epic. The campaign was supported with strategically targeted video and audio ads running across TripAdvisor, where people are there to book trips, Facebook, Instagram, iHeart Podcast, which is a new tool for us this year, YouTube advertising, also a new tool that's the second largest search engine behind Google. And so that's why we wanted to be there. Multiple streaming media services in New York City and Philadelphia markets. The iHeart Podcasts were also in Washington, D.C., and TripAdvisor ads running in D.C. and also in Connecticut. We had coordinating digital display GIF ads in multiple markets as well. In coordination with that summer campaign, we sent monthly e-blasts to Edge Media's LGBTQ subscribers in New York City and Philadelphia, as well as domestic travel enthusiasts in Boston. So really trying to get that overnight drive market so that they have to spend the night when they get here, because when they spend the night, they spend 3 times as much money as day trippers do in Dutchess County. So we really want to get that. It also gives the county the biggest bang for its buck, because not only are those visitors contributing to our sales tax collection, but the lodging tax, that 4% overnight lodging tax. So we really tried to bring those folks in. We continue our Air Duchess video series. We just released our Ferncliff Forest Fire Tower video yesterday. Those were produced with IDA dollars at the end of 2020 to deploy throughout the year this year, and they're proving very popular. In May, we launched our completely overhauled website, which was a huge undertaking. The new site is much more mobile friendly, as visitors to our site, more than 60% are doing it on a mobile device. So that was really key for us to make sure that we had something that worked better for a variety of different devices there. We adopted the storied experience branding, the new color palette, new and improved trip planner, highlighted events scrolling ribbon, which is new and getting a lot of good traction. That's right on the homepage. The navigation has been simplified. We have a Dutchess A to Z there as well. So you continue to see all those things that happen through the county. We can change them up depending on what's going on. So, you know, earlier in the summer, F was for family fun, and then in August it was for fair. And so we can switch out some of those different things as we go, depending on what we want to focus on that homepage there. And the other thing that it does is really highlight the different regions of the county, because at 800 square miles, it's hard for people to understand how to navigate. So we have different focuses on Southern Dutchess, Central, Northern, and Eastern Dutchess County, and then breaks down the municipalities within those as well. So you can kind of plan 4 trips to Dutchess County. So that's one of the focuses that we had there. We continue promoting agritourism, the farm and food experiences on our website and our email marketing, on our social media channels with blog posts, top 10 lists. Paid e-blasts and advertorials are also utilized to inform residents and visitors about the excellent agritourism experiences they can have here in Dutchess County. As a part of that, we sponsor Hudson Valley Restaurant Week, and that inclusion is comes with Valley Table ads, where we highlighted in the spring our maple producers here in Dutchess County with a great photo of Sukup Farms in Dover Plains. The summer ad focused on farm stands, included a photo of Montgomery Place Orchard's Wayside Stand in Red Hook. And then our fall ad encouraging a tasting tour of Dutchess County. Fall is our best time. And that has a great photo of a guest enjoying a craft beverage at Fishkill Farms. So that's our fall ad for there that focuses on the farm and food experiences you can have here. Our business support efforts included 5 educational webinars in the second quarter for over 300 attendees. And then those recordings reviewed an additional 72 times afterwards. Included how to use video to market your business, reimagining tourism partnerships in 2021, agile marketing in the age of COVID, social media best practices for small business, and tourism marketing through a crisis. The other thing we did was launch a Connect and Catch Up Roundtable series. We've all been so separated that this virtual series allows our partners to network and to share what's happening at their sites with each other and with our staff, so they can cross-promote one another, and they prove very successful.
Quick question.
Yeah.
Just my memory was jogged. I know that there was a point where we were doing ads on taxis or.
We did do
Yes.
Uber and Lyft.
Right.
Yeah, wrapped cars.
Was there any ability to measure the effectiveness of those at all, or did the,
You get impressions, and we did have results for that were included in our end of year report for that year. We did those in 2019. We did not do them in 2020 because people weren't going anywhere. We did not do them again this year. We are looking to do them next year in markets that have direct flights to the Hudson Valley through Stewart International Airport, as a way to reach some new markets of people and hopefully get people on those flights to Stewart and then coming into Dutchess County. You bet. Hudson Valley Film Commission continues to work with numerous productions to find locations, crew, actors, and service providers here in Dutchess County. The second quarter of 2021 was the busiest that they've ever had in their 21 years. The region became home to more than 15 projects in that second quarter, including many in Dutchess. 5 were filming simultaneously within a 25-mile radius of Poughkeepsie, including White House Plumbers, which is a HBO 5-part limited series. Mindy Kaling's Sex Lives of College Girls, an HBO 13-episode production, and Amy Schumer's Life of Beth, which are 10 episodes for Hulu. I mentioned that because those series provide a much greater economic impact than just feature films, because they're here a really long time. So that direct spending, they said they're estimating, they don't have all the reporting in yet from those productions, but that it exceeds 25 million in direct spending. So that doesn't include Woody Harrelson going to dinner at Savona's or any of that other kind of spending that's happening here in the county. 70 days of work, more than 1,000 part-time jobs, 12,000 room nights. It's been a big deal for our county, and we want to make sure that they continue to like coming here because it's really helped our hotels, who would have been pretty empty in the first and second quarters of the year. The first quarter is always a downtime for tourism. So those film productions helped fill those rooms and kept some of those places alive. So it was really key to supporting our community and our business partners. Arts Mid-Hudson received 12 applications for Dutchess Partners in the Arts for the 2021 programmatic support. Funding from across the county included festivals, funding requests included festivals, cinemas, theater, music performances, and more. That was a low number of applications for them this year. Many people weren't sure what they could and could not do, so they did not apply, but that allowed them to give a larger funding amounts to the awardees, all which were very strong programs. They also received 11 capacity building requests that they were evaluating. Funding requests range from new staff positions, equipment upgrades, and diversity, equity, and inclusion training. Arts Mid-Hudson's Folk Arts program continues monthly Zoom presentations related to gospel music in the Hudson Valley, which are leading up to the 2021 Hudson Valley Gospel Festival. This is the second one for them. They did get one off in 2020 before the pandemic hit. It was in February. Now this year it's in September, outdoors at Bowdoin Park on the 18th. Arts and cultural retention expansion highlights from the second quarter include the 5th annual Poetry Festival with Poet Gold, meetings with arts organizations such as Catsbon, Upstate Films, Mosaic Project, the Hudson Valley Gospel Festival, and individual artists, including Poet Gold and Sabrina, to continue moving events from the planning stage to the live and in-person stage this year. Arts Mid-Hudson continues with the collaboration with Poet Gold in a monthly series called Leading with Artivism, featuring the work of local artists and showcasing how they interact with their community. All virtual events, readings, artist talks are recorded and available on Arts Mid-Hudson's YouTube channel, as well as their new streamlined web page. They host weekly meetings in Poughkeepsie that highlight activities across the county, connect artists, arts organizations, community together for collaborations, marketing support, and they had approximately 175 attendees in the second quarter. I've attended them. Anybody is welcome to join in if you're interested. They do it every Wednesday night. Now they're meeting in person again at 40 Cannon Street at the gallery there. So that is a quick summary, and when I get back to the office, we will get you that report because it's complete. I'm sorry I didn't get to your inboxes.
Thank you very much. Does anybody have any questions? John?
Can you update us on where you are with your funding and your budget and how you operate? In case anybody doesn't realize how Dutchess Tourism fits in with the process here.
Sure. So most of our funding comes from the county. And then the significant portion comes from the IDA as well. And so what we try to do with that money is those supporting those businesses and that retention, that is one of your goals that you have here with our business support activities, with that marketing support and dollars that we spend. We also do international to bring in those dollars because that's more, international travelers have more vacation time, so they travel and stay longer and they spend more money when they're here. So that's a piece of that focus. So in terms of our budget, what we're looking at is a wide variety of sources. We know that as we go forward, trying to supplement and bring in additional dollars in other ways. So for instance, we applied for a CFA grant this year to try to supplement those dollars and bring in more money for our advertising efforts and our marketing efforts.
What's CFA, just,
Sure, it's a consolidated funding application through Empire State Development. We also get matching funds dollars from I Love New York, although that program didn't start until July 1st this year at a greatly reduced rate than it had been. We still actually haven't got our check from I Love New York. But, you know, any day now they tell us. So
as far as your budget and where you are on your budget for the year, are you on track to achieve your budgetary goals?
Yes,
Okay.
yes, we are very well on track. Some adjustments were made earlier in the year with as COVID comes and COVID goes and we shift things. But I think the work that we did, especially with the website and refreshing that, it's a completely new look. It uses more video. It's very fresh and we get lots of compliments on it. And the new trip planner is proving to be very useful for a lot of people. So as they can go through the website, they can click on the things that they want to do and it saves them to their trip planner. So it helps them be more efficient and also figure out geographically, can I have a tour at Dia Beacon and then pop to Rhinebeck for lunch real quick? And the answer is no. So we try to help them.
To sort of see some of that activity from behind the scenes.
Yes.
So you know how to tailor your communication in the future to people as well.
Right, and we know from our partners, one of them, since we added that event scrolling ribbon on the homepage where we can showcase what's coming up right away, that we have moved to the #1 referral source for some of those businesses, our website. So that's, Millbrook Vineyards mentioned that. I think part of that is that they were offering events every weekend. So they're always there and with their food truck Fridays and jazz in the vineyard Saturdays. But that was pretty exciting to hear the great impact. We moved accessible travel. That's our letter A. So promoting the county as a welcoming destination for all people, no matter what ability they have. Before it was a slider on our homepage, but sometimes people wouldn't get to it. Now that it's right there in the front, the visitation to that landing page grew exponentially. So that was really, really exciting for us to see the immediate difference that had.
Great. Any other questions?
Yes. So how many team members do you have on your staff?
We have 7 and a part-timer.
Okay. Can I continue?
Yes, please.
Okay. You mentioned in your presentation 1,200 hotel rooms.
That was for the film,
12,000 nights.
12,000 room
12,000
nights.
12,000 room nights.
Right.
So do you have any statistics as to the where we are in terms of the vacancy rate for the local hotels? Do you have the ability to gather that information?
I will tell you, in talking to many of our hotel partners, that they're over 90% occupancy
On the weekends or?
all month long.
That's still amazing. with-
It's
Month of
phenomenal.
September or?
So even in talking to one of them recently, June was the best month they'd ever had, then July topped that, then August topped that. And it's gonna continue. Their rates that they're able to charge are significantly higher than what they normally get to charge because the demand is so great. We're having 2-night minimums, but multiple hotels are reporting 90% occupancy for the month. So not just weekends. Weekends are sold out.
So that drives the hotel tax, the bed.
Yes,
Okay, and your agency gets a portion of that? Is that how that,
not officially.
not officially, it's.
We would like that to be true. We would very much
I
like
know
that to be
I know
true.
that the funding comes from the county.
Yeah, but it's not dedicated and we would like for it to be
So when will you
dedicated
be making your presentation to the county for your?
in about 2 hours.
Okay.
Thanks for asking. Wish me luck.
So you've gotten warmed up. When do you have regularly scheduled board meetings?
We do. We have them quarterly. And then we also do a
Are
month.
they on a certain day of the month?
They're the third Thursday of the month,
Third Thursday every quarter?
every quarter.
In the quarter or after the quarter?
The next one will be in October.
Okay. And they're held here, are they held virtually or?
We did the last one in person for the first time, and that was up at Bard College. We move them to different parts of the county, different hosts. We have not decided whether we're gonna do in person or virtual.
For October.
Right, we're kind of waiting to see what's happening. But we were able to do a hybrid for our last meeting, thanks to the technology of Bard College.
That's
Thank you.
good, thank you.
You're welcome, thank you.
Okay, again, any other questions for tourism? Well, thank you. It sounds like you're on a path for another successful year, and
We are.
always pleased to hear when tourism's doing well.
Well, thank you. And I'm proud to say that the New York State Tourism Industry Association gave Dutchess Tourism an award, Tourism Excellence Award for most significant COVID-related impact for our community and businesses this year. So we're really proud of that work.
And I think, that's the ability for people to do day trips and couple day trips, rather than their normal vacations. where they
Yeah.
might travel somewhere. I think you guys helped us to seize that opportunity and just, keep it going during COVID.
Absolutely. I encourage you all to invite your friends and relatives to come visit you here and spend their dollars here.
If you think about, the impact on restaurants and hotels without that.
Yeah, they can't survive.
Businesses would not have been able to support it because everybody's remote.
That's exactly it. They cannot survive on resident support alone. And they would go away without visitors, and then our quality of life would decrease. And so we all want to continue to make sure that they have the support they need.
Thank you again.
Thank you.
Okay, moving on to our next agenda item is LDC second quarter performance update.
Yes, so
Just as a matter of perfunctory, why did we get the LDC report in the IDA meeting?
because the IDA has a contract with the LDC for.
Okay, just want to make sure
So
that.
funny, someone's gonna ask that question.
Well,
You saw me pause it first because I'm
and
thinking,
you looked right at me.
but when I saw LDC and I'm thinking, should this be on the LDC? And then I,
Okay.
of course, immediately thought, all right, so Sarah,
Yes.
having that explanation,
So,
just to steer everybody in your packet, Sarah
it has a
has,
table,
Think Dutchess, it starts with Think Dutchess Business
Yes.
Attraction.
yes. So overall, the first and second quarter has been very busy for Think Dutchess. In all our departments in terms of business attraction. We had a goal of 50 requests for information as our goal for 2021. And by the end of second quarter, we had already 45 requests for information. The request for information is usually available, questions for available sites. Sometimes it's just for workforce available. They may have already a site identified and they are looking to look at workforce availability, issues like that. But it is 45 requests from unique businesses looking to relocate or expand within Dutchess County. First quarter, we attracted 2 businesses, Amazon and AP Packaging. These were also projects that the IDA considered. They were also businesses in our priority sector, which includes distribution and manufacturing. With these 2 projects, we were able to attract over $147 million of private investment into the county, and the projection that they would create a total of 605 jobs, or 605 FTE positions in Dutchess County. We attended one trade show in the spring of 2020. Trade shows are still, many of the trade shows are still 2021, correct, are still doing remote, and we're seeing some still later this year during the fall, but we did attend one remote trade show in the spring of 2020.
Question.
Yes.
So we set a goal of 50.
Yes.
Some things happen organically, something happens because of proactive efforts on our part. Is there any way that you can measure some tangibility to this, like those people went to our website first and then called, or, I understand it's difficult, but what makes us choose 50? Is
Oh,
it the
so-
prior year
It
period?
was the prior year period.
Okay.
So we use the prior year period and then we build in a little bit of, so last year we had 39.
Okay,
And so then we build a little bit of growth for that. So that was where we came.
so since we are, what part of the year here? We're in the second quarter and we're already at 45?
Yes.
So are we gonna reset on that?
So
Are we gonna say, hey, we're close to our goal, maybe we need to have a reach goal for the rest of the year,
we could,
right? And then
yes.
by saying that, also, what is it that caused it to be so high? Was it because we had a new website, a new campaign? Trying to figure it out.
Yeah, I mean, we'll take a look at the numbers. We don't keep track of whether because when they call us, they're looking for sites. We can ask them, how did you find out
Yes.
about us? We do keep track of where the leads come from in the sense that, are they coming directly to us? Are they coming from
Right.
ESD? Are they coming from tourism?
Right.
Things like that. So that we
Okay.
keep track of, and I can
So in-
certainly present on that in a
That would be
future
awesome, if you could, just so that we can see, one of the things we're constantly subject of debate is the contract we have with some of the vendors, right, who help us with these things. And so it might help us to see the impact of those dollars.
Yep.
But I certainly would suggest that I think we should look at expanding that goal.
Okay.
And then, not just expanding it for the sake of expanding it, but thinking a little bit about what caused it to be so high and making sure that we continue focusing on those
Yeah,
things.
yeah.
Excuse me, Mr.
Yes.
Chairman. So jumping down to the second
Yes.
box on this presentation that we have, you have 102 projects in the pipeline. So is that include the 45 from above? So that means you had 57 potentials on 1-1?
Yes,
Okay.
yes.
And some of these, in that report, the 102, some of them are dead, completed, on
Yes.
hold.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, okay.
Okay, Sarah, continue on, I'm
So
sorry.
yeah, so that was actually my next part. We have 102 in the pipeline, and that some of these projects are from prior years, and they continue to be in the.
So of this pipeline, right now, we have 69, 75, I'm just trying to think.
Okay.
Almost 80 that are still somewhat active.
Yeah, someone active. They are, we check in with them periodically and to just make sure their status hasn't changed or has changed. One question I will say, I got an email from that we did make a property visit with one of the projects. It's Project BOE, which is the Board of Elections, that happened in first quarter. In third quarter, they closed on their property and moved in third quarter. So that you'll see in that will be a closed project. So.
All right,
So that is actually, owned now by the county or by the.
No, they're
just tenants.
leasing a space in the town of Poughkeepsie.
And the old facility is in the process of being sold
Good.
on 47 United Street. So it's gonna go back on the tax roll.
yay.
So that is our project attraction. In terms of project business retention and expansion program, we are on target for our site visits. We've done 34 of our 65 site visits by the end of second quarter. The common themes that we were seeing in first and second quarter was attracting talent, hiring. Those were the biggest issues. We saw a combination of both what I would call low skill jobs as well as high tech professional jobs. So our businesses, like our large manufacturers, IBM, Global, were having trouble finding employees as well as our local small businesses. As well. So that was the common theme that we found. On our site visits.
And I think that's just the same throughout the country.
Yeah. What's interesting too is also one of the challenges that you could ask what the challenges are, and one of them was actually it always appears, but cost of living. So we saw a little uptick, not as really significant, but there was, and I think it's related to housing, that people just could not find affordable housing. So that was one of the, actually Marist said that they had a hard time recruiting because they would find people and they would look at cost of housing here, and then they wouldn't accept the position because from where they were coming from, the cost of housing was lower than what they were finding in Dutchess, so. General business counseling, that number continues to be very high for us. Years past, I mean, this, and maybe a number that we also need to increase, is we've been hovering around 50. But this time we're seeing, by end of second quarter, we're up at 73. Part of that is, I think, a layover from last year, because a lot of our technical assistance historically has been for our area of concentration has been industrial and commercial businesses. But because during 2020, we also provided technical assistance to small businesses for COVID relief programs such as PPP and EIDL, it's not a typical audience or client we serve because we serve so many. And I think the word got out that they received help from us. We are receiving many more calls from small businesses than we have in the past. So I think that accounts for that increase in numbers. And then, of course, that also increases our number of referrals to our community partners as well. We assisted 4 businesses to get their MWBE certification. These businesses have not yet received their certification yet, but they have filed for their certification.
Is there any redundancy in that? Do the chambers do that as well, or is that?
So I don't know if the chamber does anything. I think, as far as I know, we're the only one that provide technical assistance on the filling out of the application.
All right. Thank you.
We hosted one 60-hour entrepreneurial program through our partnership with WEDC. It was an online program that occurred in January and February and March.
So it's one in English, one in Spanish.
So we have a contract that they provide one in English, one in Spanish. The Spanish one has not occurred yet because one of the issues is that the Spanish population doesn't have the devices necessary to do online courses. And so, which actually is going to change because WEDC just got a delivery of Chromebooks yesterday, which is in our hallway, and that is for their Spanish.
You're gonna loan those out?
Loan those out to
That's
people
great.
so that they can take the class. So the first quarter was for the English speaking.
How many people attended?
So for the entrepreneur class, I think they had 15 businesses attend. I don't know of that number, how many I'll have to find out how many were Dutchess County businesses, because they open it up to the region that they serve, so it may include some Westchester and Orange County clients in that.
Does the number of people from Dutchess County that are attending, is that more important to us than just that it was one held?
So the number of Dutchess County, so what they used to do pre-COVID is they used to hold one in Dutchess County and one in Orange County and one in Westchester. Since COVID, they do it online and they open it up. So we've asked them to provide how many of those businesses are Dutchess County businesses. So you'll see in the next one, host workshops and events to entrepreneurs. There's a number that 34 Dutchess County businesses were assisted at that time. For PR and marketing, we are on track from second quarter. The first one is media relations, we have done 5 active pitches to different news sources by the end of second quarter. The press visits, we are planning one in the fall. Those have been a little bit challenging again because of COVID and the restrictions on travel. And a lot of journalists not willing to travel, but we do have one scheduled for the fall. And so that we hope to, and we have one more, again, late fall, maybe early winter, on track. So that is, so while we didn't do any in the first, 2 quarters of the year, we do expect to have at least one, hopefully 2 for the, remaining quarters. We've done about 15 reactive press releases. Those are press releases to announcements that are usually made by our partners, and then we're contacted and we just amplify their press release, or we make comments on those projects. And then as a result of the proactive pitching, we've gotten good results on our impressions, and then what that would cost if we were to take ads out to get the same amount of exposure. In terms of our digital media, we are on track, even though some of the numbers are a little bit lower, we are on track. But we've changed our strategy a little bit in the sense that we are doing fewer social media posts to garner larger engagement numbers. So we have a few less posts that we made in second quarter, so that accounts for our slightly lower numbers, but we're optimistic that we'll be able to make that up in the third and fourth quarter. And then in terms of site selector specific newsletters, we have published one in the first quarter of this year. We did not publish any in the second quarter, but we do have in the works site selector specific newsletters for third and fourth quarter.
Is there any strategy as to what time of the year that we do those? Is there a specific reason that we didn't do? Like it says we're going to do up to 4 and we've only done 1 so far.
Yes, part of it is related to the type of news, we want to announce. And part of it is, again, calendar of what, we like to do it when it's kind of close to like a site selector conference, because it heightens awareness. And there hasn't been any conferences. So, but there is a site selector conference scheduled for third quarter and a major site selector event for fourth quarter that we are also planning to attend. So we hope to have site selector newsletters come out right before we attend. And so. And then the last 2 slides are regarding IDA and LDC activity, which you are aware of, is we closed on 5 projects by the end of second quarter. Those include Hatfield Metal, I'm sorry, I can't read my notes. Hatfield Metal, Amazon, Fox Run, AP Packaging, and then
Violet Estates.
Violet Estates.
Oh, and Violet Estates. I just see estates. And Violet Estates that closed in the January to June of this year, which is projected to create over 600 new FTEs and retain 52 FTEs and increase private investment in the county by over $186 million and create 547 construction jobs.
Have you seen the construction labor market in the Hudson Valley? I'm just curious, Don, I'm sorry. Al, do you have any comments about that, just for the group?
Say the question again?
What are you seeing as far as availability of local labor?
Labor, obviously the non-union sector is having a trouble with it, but we're not seeing any problems with the union laborers.
Okay.
So that's where it seems.
That's good to hear. All right.
Okay, and then in LDC, it's been kind of quiet, but third quarter is really where the activity Lies, Anderson and Millbrook closed at the end of August. I'm done with Capolino, did you wanna?
No.
Anderson and Millbrook closed at the end of August and, the culinary which the board will, the LDC board will consider this morning, will close, at the end of, this month as well.
And Sarah, just really again, very quickly, the reason that we have this in this is because of the funding that flows from the IDA to the LDC.
Yes.
Briefly, just remind everybody about what that.
So the IDA has a professional service contract for economic development services with the LDC, and part of that requires reporting of the activities of the LDC to the IDA.
Any other questions about that?
Not about that. Are you
yes.
still in your
No.
report? I'll wait till you're done.
I'm done.
So recently, the county, created a grant program. Can you speak to that? Has that, started yet? It was gonna be run, for small businesses?
Oh, the micro marketing.
Yes.
Yes. So we received, or we haven't received actually. We are working with the county and we will receive funds from the county as a result, as part of the American Relief Fund dollars that the county is expecting to receive. Part of that is to implement 3 programs that will help our businesses in Dutchess County. One of them is the talent attraction program. One is an expansion of our existing entrepreneur and startup program. And the third one is the micro marketing program for small businesses. The micro marketing program for small businesses is the most formulated of the 3 programs. It has started. We have selected 45 businesses small businesses into the program. The intent and goal in the program is to increase foot traffic and customer traffic for these businesses. We are providing, as part of the program, marketing, education, assistance, auditing, and enhancements of their marketing from regular flyers all the way to sophisticated metrics and social media. And for some of these businesses, they don't have a logo. So we're going to be actually setting up a logo and branding campaign and assistance related to that. So it also includes a free membership to the chamber. So they have networking and marketing services available through the chamber as well.
A 12-month.
A 12-month, a 1-year membership. So that has been kicked up. The chamber membership has already begun. And then this month they will have an audit of their current marketing programs they have in place. We're going to go through what they do, like if they have a website, if they have Instagram, how do they currently reach their customers and then do that.
And how did you select the 45 businesses? Was there an application?
There was an
process?
application that was sent out and then it was reviewed with our partners, the county, the chamber, tourism, and the Dutchess reviewed the applications.
And of these 45 businesses that were successful in getting into the program, could you speak to as maybe what industries they're in, the size of the businesses? I mean, just, I'm catching you off guard, but, could you briefly update the board on that?
Sure. So the requirement of the business was that they had to have 25 or less employees. And that they had lost customers during the pandemic. So these ventuses range from restaurants to caterers to event venues such as the Bardavon. They really, it is to regain customers that they may have lost due to the pandemic as a result of not being able to operate because of COVID restrictions or the lack of foot traffic that they may have received because of a number because they weren't able to open fully.
And what was the total dollar amount of this funding?
So there's $45,000 that is dedicated to the micro-marketing.
Okay, and do you think that that's gonna be sufficient in order to have a successful outcome?
So we think so. What we did also is we had all the businesses fill out a baseline survey of where they were now, and then we're gonna have them follow up with a survey at the end to see how successful the program is. And at that point, we'll decide whether we need to continue or supplement that program. But right now, we gave an estimate to the county. I'm pretty confident that the estimate is fairly accurate. The unknowns is the talent attraction and the expansion of the entrepreneurship program, because those are still, those were estimates. But again, even as estimates, I think.
And for the 3 programs, what was the total funding that we allocated
It
out of the ARP funds?
It is up to $300,000. They are reimbursed funds. So
Reimbursed, so you have it's just going through the IDA, the LDC?
it is going through the LDC.
Okay, all right, so maybe, so the LDC,
We're asking because they're funded partially by the IDA.
exactly,
yes,
so the
yes.
LDC has to spend the money.
Correct.
But use the resources, and then the county reimburses it.
Yes. So as a result, we have up to 2 years to spend the money.
Okay,
And our current county contract is being amended to account for some of the micro-marketing program this year. So I'll talk about that more at the LDC.
sorry.
That's okay, but it is a micro-market, and Don, you just reminded me, I misspoke, it's not 45,000 for the micro-marketing, it's more than that, it's
Yeah,
actually.
that's what I thought.
Yeah, it's actually,
I thought it was around
Yeah.
110,000.
it's about 110,000,
Yeah.
you're correct, it's over 100,000 for the micro-marketing.
And just to comment, just to go back to another project, we worked with the county to establish a potential emergency funding program. Again, trying to be reactive to the needs of the county. As it turned out, we really did not have a whole lot. Did we have anybody that actually?
We did, we had a few applicants,
I'm
but.
sorry, could you give the name of the
Oh, yeah,
project?
so we had the, we had the emergency loan program, the IDA did in 2020. We did have about 4 small businesses apply for that program, but as part of the application program, we found out that there were other programs that were better for them. 2 of the businesses did not realize that they qualified for the PPP program, and one business did not qualify for our program, but did qualify for the county put out a grant program, and we refer them to that. And then the 4th also was able to get other programming that was more favorable than the terms of our loan program.
Yeah, I believe when we decided as a board to go forward with that, there was a lot of, certainly much more uncertainty.
Correct.
In the world. So, and again, the PPP and the other external areas where businesses could, everything was fluid.
Correct.
The PPP regulations changed 45 times, I believe. So, we were here to offer, and, we were a resource, and that's I think that's commendable.
Yes, it's good news that it wasn't needed.
That is an LDC program.
Yeah, that's true. Yes,
Okay.
thank you, Carol.
It's late.
No, but that's fine. All
Since
right.
it's part of the service contract.
That's why we're talking.
Okay, so that was the LDC. Sarah, you have the project performance update as well that was distributed in advance.
Yes.
But you want to cover that quickly?
Yeah, really quickly, this is part of our compliance process where we take a look at our projects to make sure that there is no recapture events, or to identify any, better wording, to identify any recapture events in our projects. So in 2020, we did find that we had a sales tax recapture event at Belfield had exceeded their sales tax benefit in 2020. Actually, one of their agents had exceeded. As a result, we did bill for the overage as well as interest that they had incurred. We did receive payment and we did send that to New York State. We are required to send the overage plus any interest incurred to New York State. So the IDA did not retain any funds that we collected on that overage. But that is complete and now the project is in compliance. So there's no issue there. Otherwise, there are no other projects that are subject to recapture. We did see, the good news, in 2020, the IDA had 31 active projects by 22 unique operators, meaning that while we had more projects, a lot of them were by the same, Eastdale being the biggest example. These projects accounted for 10,779 FTE jobs, 887 construction jobs, and over $12.7 million in pilot payments to Dutchess County. These represent a 73% increase in job growth over projections, as well as 119% increase in property revenue pre-IDA status. So that is.
Just to go back, under pilot revenue, and I think, of course, we do have public hearings and some taxpayers do object to, some of the approvals that we're considering. And, often the comment is made that it's shifting the burden to the taxpayers, but under the pilot revenue, just to note that prior to the projects that we had successfully completed, there was a total of 5.8 million in tax payments on those properties. And as a result of the pilots, even though they are a discounted rate, moving in, it did increase the tax revenue to the taxing jurisdictions to 12.7 million. So, there are some services that come with projects, but I'd like to think that the tax revenue, the net to the municipalities has increased and will continue to because most pilots ramp up.
Correct. And it is also important to note that, the increase in revenues as a result of increase in assessment and special districts such as fire district and library are not subject to pilot payments.
Right.
So these projects are paying full assessed value for those services.
Right.
At their new assessment.
Okay.
So a project that completed construction in Cricket Valley is completed construction in 2020. As a result, they are now assessed at $651 million. That is a considerable increase on their pre-assessed value of 1.2 million.
And most importantly is not the project assessment, it's what they're paying.
So what they're paying. So prior to IDA status, they were paying a property the tax payment of $66,000. Now, in 2020, they paid a pilot payment of 3.1 million. Not all the projects, but a considerable amount of projects did report lower employment numbers in 2020. And across the board, it was a result of the pandemic and the resulting of laying employees off. But overall, despite the lower numbers in projects, many of our projects were still able to achieve their and maintain their their employment goals. There were about 5 projects, Adams, Arbor Ridge, Benura, Built Parcel 3 and 4 and IBM that did go under their employment threshold. I will say that all 5 projects were approved and introduced before 2015 when the IDA had their recapture policy in place. So these projects are not subject to recapture. In the report, I do explain two of these projects, or three of these projects are a direct result of the pandemic and their inability to operate fully.
And just generally speaking, even when they been subject to the recapture policy, if the board were to determine that the reasons were beyond their control, there is no absolute recapture provisions. The board could consider the business environment and still, consider the projects to be acceptable to us.
Yes, yes.
And we also could, if it wasn't related to that and they just were in violation for what we felt were things they could control, we could actually move forward with recapture.
Yeah. So the only exception to that is sales tax. Sales tax, we are required to
Yes,
recapture
I'm sorry.
regardless, but
The
for
pilot.
pilots, yes.
Okay. Any questions on the projects that are as outlined, not, able to hit their job segments? Okay.
Okay. And then I'm just gonna skip to the end, is 2020 projects. The IDA was executed two projects in 2020, the ShopRite Supermarket as part of Hudson Heritage, and 2328 Creek Drive, which is a mixed-use project in the city of Beacon, which will house a high-tech company.
What percentage are they in completion of their projects compared to what was expected? Are they?
So
Do you know?
ShopRite has completed construction.
Mm-hmm.
They are scheduled to open in September. Their opening has been delayed. Part of the reason is they're still getting some building approvals,
Mm-hmm.
and that's been held up. But if you go on their Facebook page, they said the opening soon, so.
The ShopRite.
ShopRite.
What about the other parts of that project?
So if you drive by, you'll see a sign for Burger King.
Mhm.
They are doing quite a bit of
Housing?
well, they're not doing housing yet. They're still in the planning process. Housing is a component, but they're still in the planning process for housing. Part of it is they are they're in the town for property, but they're in the Hyde Park School District. And so there's some issues regarding the Hyde Park School District and town about the housing. But it is something that they are actively pursuing. So phase one of Hudson Heritage, which is what the IDA has approved and induced, is actively being under construction, so yeah. And then as Mark mentioned earlier in the meeting, Eastdale, and then the projects, the amendments that the board approved, and then as a result, the tenants, the six or there's several tenants that have been able to move and expand there.
Okay. Anybody have any questions? Appreciate for getting this stuff out, Okay, is there anything else that we want to talk about during this meeting, or we want to go to the LDC?
I do have an announcement related to the IDA.
Okay.
Is the company that supports our cost benefit analysis program is no longer going to support the program as of December 31st of this year. So I am working with the New York State Economic Development Council on trying to identify another program that the Office of the State Controller will approve. Just to give background, the current cost benefit analysis program we use is approved by the State Controller's Office and acceptable for cost benefit analysis. We are in search for another one. One of the benefits of this program that we use is that it is a universal program that most IDAs use in New York State, so that all our cost benefit analysis are consistent. We are trying to find somebody who can provide similar services.
So aren't all the other IDAs in the same boat as you?
Yes.
Okay.
So, but I'm on the board of New York State EDC, so we're working closely to try to identify an alternative provider. If anything, if we can't, as an organization, find someone, I'm also looking to see if we can find another alternate source temporarily until we can find a statement.
Okay, if there's no other business, I'm going to adjourn the meeting of the IDA, and we're going